Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I will talk to you about how to write a statement of purpose if you're applying for a PhD position at a US university. I will talk to you about what you should include and what you should not include in a statement of purpose. So let's first start with what a statement of purpose is not. Okay, so what you should not include in a statement of purpose. You should not rewrite information that one can already see in your academics or in your transcript. You don't need to explain again how many courses you have taken and what are the different grades you got. This is not a time to explain about your academics. You should also not include the 30 or 50 different extracurricular activities that you have done in your statement of purpose. People can find that information in your CV or some other place in your application. You should not include generic statements that you love certain area of research or you like doing certain thing or you are a hardworking person. These kind of generic statement have no place in the statement of purpose. It also not a place where you include stories about yourself, how you grew up, where you grew up, and how is your family, why you are interested in going to a certain place, you like living on the beach or on the mountains. These are not the type of stories that somebody is looking for in a statement of purpose. So if the statement of purpose is not these things, then what is a statement of purpose? Is a place where you show your enthusiasm for research. You're applying for a PhD program where you want to go and do research, and maybe you like doing research, you want to continue doing it for the next 5, 10 years, maybe even longer, maybe throughout your life. So you have to show that you really like doing research and you want to do that as a profession. That's what you need to show in your statement of purpose. So you have to include what type of research you like, why do you like that kind of research, and what motivates you to do that research. You should include a description of previous research that you have done. You might have done research in a certain area that you want to go do your PhD in, but even if you have not done research in that area, you might have done some research to prepare yourself for a PhD program. So what kind of research have you done? Have you done summer research internships? Have you done undergraduate research over a semester or 2 semesters? Have you done some kind of industry related work? You should include that information in your statement of purpose. So statement of purpose is a place where you provide information that is not already in your transcript. If you have learned certain skills while doing research or otherwise on your as a hobby, you should include that information in the statement of purpose, especially if you have learned some programming skills, you have done some lab work, or if you have got some certifications from industry. You should include that information in your statement of purpose. And finally, statement of purpose is also a place where you display your scientific interest, scientific knowledge, as well as your writing skills or your communication skills. When you get into a PhD program, you will have to talk to people, you will have to publish papers, you will have to give presentations, and it's a good place to show that you are good at communicating, especially include information about some oral presentation that you have done in the past, maybe about your research. But also from the statement of purpose itself, people are looking at how well you write and how well you write about science. So if you have done some research, explain what the bigger goal of the research project was. So you can explain that you are interested in the science and you understand the science, and then you can communicate it. So all these things are being judged through your statement of purpose, and you should try and display that through your statement of purpose. So when you talk about research, first of all, what you should do is you should give a very clear explanation of what research project you were doing. You have to give the broader big picture idea of what the research area is. You show that you actually understand what the big picture idea was. Then you have to show what was your specific contribution. So if you're working for, let's say, a couple of months in a summer project, or for 1 year over a long-term undergraduate project, you should explain what your specific role was, what your specific project was, and how it fit in the bigger picture. So you can display that you are a person who understands the scientific process, understand that projects generally go for a long period of time, and you have to narrow down and identify your role, and you were able to finish that role. You understood what the role was and you did it over a specified period of time. You should also explain what obstacles did you, or hardships did you encounter while while doing the project. You should explain how you overcame that obstacle. So maybe you'll know how to do computer programming, but you did not know a certain type of algorithm, or you didn't know how to implement it, or you did not know, let's say, deep learning, or maybe a laboratory technique, or maybe you had never done field research and you need to learn how to do field research, go out, interact with people, ask questions. So if there are certain things that you did not know which you learned during the process, you should include that in your statement of purpose. What did you actually learn on top of doing your work? Like, what were the different skills that you gathered? And then what was the final outcome? Did you give a presentation in the end? Did you come up with software? What there's some data collected? Where is that data? If it sits somewhere on the internet, you can provide a link about the final outcome. If you were successful in writing a publication at the end, you should include a link to that publication. This definitely shows that you are a person who can take a project and bring it to its conclusion. PhD goes for a long time, and sometimes people quit in the middle. But if you can show that you're a person who can actually finish the project, then that's very good. So you should definitely include the final outcome. Then you should also explain some non-academic things, especially if there are some gaps in your transcript. For example, if you took a year off after your high school or after your undergraduate, what were you doing during that period? If in your transcript, you have certain courses that you didn't do well, or a certain semester that you did not do well, what was the reason? Maybe it was some family reason, or you got sick, or somebody had an accident. So you should explain that in your statement of purpose, so people get a sense of why you did not do well at a particular time. Also, if you have some non-academic major achievement, like you are an international level athlete or a musician, or you have done something very innovative, you run a family business, or you have a certain interesting skill, you should include that in your statement of purpose. You should also include a paragraph about why are specifically interested in the program that you're applying. Um, if you, let's say, sometimes people apply to a program, they want to do research in quantum information theory, but there's nobody in that department who does quantum information theory. I mean, it clearly shows that you haven't even looked at their website. So you should look at the website of the department, and then you should explain why you are particularly interested in that department, in that program. If there are certain groups, research groups that you want to work with, you should include that information. You should include the name of the professors you would like to work with. So you should try to show that you're really enthusiastic about working with that group or that department, and then you have done your background research. So all this information should be included in this type of a structure. You should first have an opening paragraph where you briefly describe what your research interests are, what your different skills are. It could be programming, lab work, some other type of certifications, and how have you prepared? What kind of preparation have you done to go into the PhD program? Then you should take about 2 to 3 paragraphs explaining each one of your research projects that you have done in the past. For each research project, you should explain what was the overall big picture goal of the research area, what was the particular group working on, what was your specific project, what did you learn during your research, and what was the final outcome. And then you should take at least one paragraph explaining why you are interested in doing research at all. Okay, what motivates you to do research in the area that you are applying for, and then what kind of skills do you have which will help you in your research. What kind of skills do you want to gain if you want to continue doing research in that area? What is your long-term goal with doing research in that particular area? You should include all that in a paragraph. And then finally, you should have a concluding paragraph where you explain why you are specifically interested in the program that you're applying to. Okay, so you can list the name of professor that you want to work with, the research area that you want to work with, specific projects, what new ideas do you want to bring in, why do you like that university. These are the type of information that should be included in the final paragraph, and then you conclude with essentially saying why you want to work at that particular institute. The final paragraph, of course, would change with every application. If you're applying to 5 different places, then you should write a different paragraph for each institution, and make sure that you don't send the application at the wrong place. Okay, if you have any question about how to write a statement of purpose, feel free to drop a line below and I would be happy to answer your questions. See you soon in the next video. Bye.